Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is not another shooting show. We go to Southington, Connecticut. I think it's Connecticut. Yes, it is Connecticut. A gun store employee in Southington, Connecticut, was taken to a hospital on Tuesday last week after police said he accidentally shot himself in the hand. According to police, an employee of Lock and Load Firearms was handling a gun that was believed to be unloaded. When he discharged the gun, it hit him in the hand. The employee was taken to the hospital for treatment. Authorities did not release details about the severity of the injury. Well, my dad did that once. I have an idea. He's probably going to be getting a skin graft.
Right.
If he's lucky, he's getting a skin graft because if the bullet goes between all the bones and doesn't like destroy bones, he'll be lucky. That'll be good. That's what happened to my dad. It went between bones, so it just broke them and didn't destroy them, but it destroyed all the flesh on the back of his hand. It was pretty gnarly. But, yeah. That's where the skin grafts came in. They had to like peel skin with like a cheese slicer looking thing off of his thighs. It was so gross.
Oh, I'm glad I'm only eating right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So why? My brain is immediately going to that famous one where the guy's trying to check his laser and then shoots himself in the hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this is gun store employees are usually on the ball with this. I mean, some stores will have that jar of bullets they take out of the unloaded firearms, you know?
Yep.
And every time they pick one up, like, of all the people I know who are the most religious about checking a gun before handling it, it's gun store employees. But then again,
Right.
It's usually when they're in front of me, about to hand it to me. The story doesn't say, like, what the context was of it or anything. It's just, sometimes it isn't people who don't know any better. Sometimes it's people who know better.
Because they get complacent.
Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. There's another story I saw in Florida. A controversial bill creates a kind of stand your ground defense for shooting Florida black bears on a person's property. And it's now been signed into law. So I looked up this law.
Ran out of meth heads to shoot?
Well, as one thing, when you think of Florida, you don't think of black bears,
Nope.
But there are a buttload of them in certain counties, in certain areas of Florida, apparently. And it's, it's gotten to the point where there's so many that sometimes there is a legitimate reason, like I know when it comes to like run-ins with grizzly bears out west, you're allowed to shoot a grizzly bear in defense of life, but not property. If they're trashing your car, or your tent, or your whatever, or they're taking your elk, you just gotta let them. But if they're attacking a person or you, then yes, you can shoot them. Well, this allows you to shoot them if they're messing with your house. Like, damage. It says causing damage to a dwelling, which is like your house.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, ripping off like shutters or parts of windows or doors, and
that's the only part of the law. Just as a hunter and someone who considers themselves a conservationist type, the defense of property thing. If they're actually, I would say more like an actual stand your ground law, where it's like if they're actually attempting to enter the house.
Right.
Then that's okay. If they're just, breaking shit, I don't care. You can't shoot them. I don't.
I mean, I 100% side with you on this. I always remember I think it was Minnesota or Wisconsin. They had like an open season for wolves, and they had they could take 12, and by the time they stopped in 14 hours, they'd killed 28.
Yeah.
I could just see them be like, oh, yeah, they were definitely see the scratch marks on this piece of siding. Yeah, totally that black bear 100 yards over there.
Yeah, that was a very poorly executed reporting system in that case. I think it was Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. But either Wisconsin or Michigan, I can't remember. And it was just when they were temporarily delisted there for a while. But yeah, it's just sort of a interesting little thing. So I before the rains came, which, by the way, if you're in a part of the country far away from the upper Midwest, you may still know about this because it's been leading national news stuff. There was a shitload of flooding where I live. Literally the area that we take care of at my job there was a graphic from the National Weather Service that said we got somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 inches of rain in the span of 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the really bad part of that is all of that moisture, or not all of it, but a lot of it, drained. So South Dakota, if you look at a map of South Dakota, in that southeastern corner, it sort of wiggles around finally to this little weird shaped point in the corner. Well, that's where two rivers converge. One is the Missouri River, the Mighty Mo, and the other is a smaller river called the Big Sioux River, which runs through Sioux Falls, the city I live in. Actually, the Big Sioux runs about a mile away from my house. In Sioux Falls, the flooding wasn't too bad because there's a bypass. The river kind of loops through town and then it leaves. Well, they built a bypass so it skips most of the town. But all this rain ended up in that river and it flooded the shit out of Southern Union County. That county, that's the little nipple down at the bottom. And not only that, but it flooded all around here as well. And at work, I have been doing nothing but putting up signs and warning people, don't drive through that water. Don't drive through that. Oh, you're driving through that water. Okay. There you go. You think there's any walk of life, there's dumb people? This past few days has convinced me like everybody's an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
We had signs up that said road closed ahead, but we left gaps we left gaps so that people who actually lived in the mile ahead could get to their house, because there were places where they could get to. But the people would drive by that anyway, just like, well, let's see how closed it is.
Yep.
And then they get up to the bridge that's covered with water, and then it's really closed.
I mean, yeah, people, and I'll give them a minor defense. Sometimes your brain just does, it's kind of like self-defense situations. Like your brain just doesn't completely process what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I was driving to a match one morning, and standard way from my house to Louisville, and there were these cops. They had like one car parked mainly in the other lane, and they were just chilling on their car. And my brain's like, that's weird, and started going around them. And then they were like, wait. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm so confused. And there was an accident up the thing and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that would make sense. And like my brain just didn't process like what was going on. But yeah, the whole standing water thing, people are like, it's not that bad. And then you just see their car floating away.
There was a guy who this was after I was in this area. There was hold on a second. Why is that not charging? My laptop. What the hell? My laptop's running on battery, but it's plugged in. What the hell is going on? Because it's about to go dead, which would be bad for a podcast. Yes. Aha! I think I fixed it. Yes, I did. The power cord wasn't plugged all the way into the little power supply boxy thing. Okay. No, it was like my laptop was about to shut down, and I'm like, oh, shit, we can't do that. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, floods. Yes. There was this terrible amount of water rushing across this road west of this little town called Davis. Very little town, like 300 people. And it's like a mile long. And the water wasn't that high, but it was running really fast over the road. Like very, very, very fast. And I was driving across it in an F550 pickup with a big-ass dump body. Like, this is a big-ass heavy dually pickup. And I was just, like, testing it, like, to see. And I had to hold the steering wheel sideways because of the flow of the water, and I backed out, and I got on the radio, and I'm like, we got to close this down. Meanwhile, there's people driving through the shit in, like, Miatas and stuff.
Yep.
It was incredible. Anyway.
One more flood question. Are you downriver of the Dubuque or no, not Dubuque. The Rapidan Dam.
I heard about that. I think that's in Minnesota.
It's in Minnesota. I just wasn't sure if you were down or like where the rivers went. Because it like made BBC News.
It's temporarily closed. No, it's up by Mankato.
Oh, okay.
So that appears to. I don't know if it eventually, because pretty much everything up in this part of the country drains into either the Mississippi or the Missouri.
Right.
And if it drains into the Missouri, it does it downstream from us. So that's
okay. Well, that's good.
That whole like weather system went like that direction. This is a show about shooting, though, not weather. But it was kind of a huge part of our lives, at least for me. But a side note that is 100% shooting related. At my gun club, you can't see the 200 or 300 yard rifle targets right now. They're all underwater, completely underwater. Yeah. So you remember how at my range the covered shelter?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 100 yard berm is kind of on the same plane of ground, same level.
Yep.
The berm for the 200 yard, you can just barely see the top of it.
Wow.
Completely covered. The river's never been this far out of the banks before. And then the 300 is, it's at the bottom of the lake, so to speak. But yeah, it's pretty wild. We built a levee across the interstate, across I-29. You can't drive to my town right now, Jeff. Sorry.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, it's completely across. It was really weird. Like, we didn't understand the plan. Like, they had a plan. We didn't understand the plan. We were just told, go load dump trucks full of dirt and shit. Okay. Dump it there. And, it's like herding cats when we get there. Like, where do we go? And there's 3 people all trying to tell you to go somewhere. And it was crazy. Anyway, I'm exhausted. We're sneaking in a couple of quick podcasts. These are going to be shorter, folks. Sorry, but I'm exhausted. And we're just trying to get you a couple of shows this week. And I need sleep bad. Anyway, moving on. There was a thing we had in last week we didn't get to, but it was something you put in there I wanted to talk about. Perishable shooting skills.
Oh, yeah.
What was the genesis of this? So,
as I processed through my minor burnout of the sport, I'm learning that some of the skills die quicker than others. And so, like, my grip feels off. Like by the end of last season, my grip, I didn't even think about it. Now I have to think about it.
Yeah,
my index is a little bit off. Like, I've come into positions and I'm like, where's my dot? Okay, there it is. And like my trigger control, I'm throwing more shots than I have in the past. And I'm like, okay. And my reloads, I tried practicing reloads today, and my pinky is swollen now because of all the reloads I missed.
You should have practiced because they're terrible.
Yes, but so yeah, that was kind of like. Sorry. I mean, you're not wrong when they're on. They're fucking on.
I saw a YouTube short of you not long ago, and you spent like 2.5 seconds trying to put the magazine into the gun at an angle that it was never meant to go, and it made me laugh. That's all.
Yes, I mean that is 100% within the realm of possibilities, because I go magazine and gun go together, and the magazine's facing like 170 degrees.
Yeah,
the other
you're putting
way.
the mag like straight left, and the gun is at like the normal angle to reload it, and it doesn't work.
Yes, and so it's kind of understanding like what skills need to be consistently worked on versus what needs to be like. What's your hierarchy of skills? Let's start with pistol shooting. Like, what's your hierarchy of like, you're exhausted this week. You're working hard, and you're like, but I want to get like 20 minutes of dry fire in it.
Yeah, I actually
give me your top 5.
The day before all the craziness started, this past Wednesday, I got in a nice practice. I had to run like a RO training meeting at the gun club, and then I practiced afterwards. And I was shooting my TAC Sport, which works now that I have all of the parts for the safety in it. And what you were saying about grip, 100% was the thing. It was the grip. It was not as it should have been. It was way, way, way off. By the way, we're We're operating out of 2 different rundowns, I think.
Oh,
Just FYI. I heard you typing, and I wasn't seeing it show up because I created an episode 35. That's
gotcha.
where I'm at. Sorry. No, my grip. The thing was, it was so easily fixed. Like, just squeeze it, and gun stays where I'm aiming. And it was the difference between me shooting 2 alpha at like 10 yards, just ripping as fast as I could, and having like Alpha Charlie, Charlie Delta,
right.
or even Alpha Delta. Sometimes, like, just because that tack support, it just does its thing if you just grip it. But it's so heavy that when I'm shooting it, like, I forget to. It doesn't recoil, so it doesn't remind me to grip hard. Shooting a Glock reminds me to grip hard, and it's just
it's
off.
a double edge. It's a double edge of a high quality gun. Is that you're like, I don't have to do as much, and the bad part about that is I don't have to do as much.
Yes, 100%. Speaking of the tack sport, I went down to my local Shields, and they have a TS2 in. I just wanted to see if it would fit in my holster as I continue to ponder this like metal gun thing. It doesn't fit in the holster because they left a lot of metal on the dust cover of the TS2, like a lot. The grip is a very different shape. It's like longer front to back. It's pretty interesting. But I think I could like modify the holster to work, but it would take some doing. But it's like, okay, I buy a 9mm all ready to go. I just got to get it milled. Or I buy a TS Orange that's exactly the same as mine, but then I got to buy a 9mm barrel and the extractor and the, it's like, yeah. But no, perishable shooting skills. Just like remembering to grip the gun hard. Like I was the same. Like you could have been talking about me. Just I wasn't. Like it has fallen off this year.
Yep.
Another one that is huge, and I noticed this when I taught a private class this past weekend on the one day where we didn't have to like go to somewhere with lots of water. My on-demand ability to like get the gun to return to the same spot and not it's not so much I'm pushing down, it's like I'm overdoing it with my firing hand and I just kind of pull it straight down. Like my hand is not secure on it and so it forces it down cuz like I'll be shooting a demonstration and like most of the bullets are showing up where I want and then there's some that are like lower than they should be for how far away I am.
Right.
Like not either pulling or pushing into the gun is another one that's if you're not shooting a lot that goes away really quickly.
Yep.
Reloads also go away quickly.
What would you say about your draw? Like, is that something that goes away very quickly, or is it kind of like it's there?
My draw is there. It's the index.
Okay, yeah.
Like putting the dot right on target from any body position. That's what fades. You know how when you're at a match, you could be drawing from any position possible, like hands on a wall. There was a bunch of that at Cornhusker. Can be hands at sides. Well, most of the time it's hands at sides, so that's what I practice all the time. Sometimes you have to be sitting down, and then your body's just in a different position when you're grabbing the gun, so the gun's not in the exact same place you're used to it being.
Right.
And when you practice like I did for the previous 3-4 years, like it's not something I really worry about at a match. Now I have to worry about it.
Yep.
That's another thing. I thought of one though for you mentioned pistol. Well, rifle. I don't shoot a ton of rifle.
Yep. Same.
I probably shoot a fair bit more than you do. And I just mean rifles overall. I don't mean just carbines, ARs, shooting fast, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about bolt guns, whatever. I used to shoot them a lot more than I do now. And the most perishable skill, I think, with a rifle is calling the wind.
Okay, that's definitely a concept that I've never done before, so I wasn't sure if that's just there's people good at it, there's people not good at it, or is it something that you just build like any other skill? You
learn through experience more than anything. That's not something you can just read about. I mean, it's the same as like your grip being dialed in. Is a lot of reps. Well, it's kind of the same thing with rifle shooting, and I'm not an expert. It's just like when I've been able to shoot whatever I want to, it's when I've been shooting rifle a lot more. And last year, me and a buddy went out and we're shooting prairie dogs out in the grassland, and part of it was that 6 Creedmoor just shoots laser beams, but part of it was there was almost no wind. So I was hitting shots I normally would not hit, but because there was almost no wind, I didn't have to worry about much of a wind call. I've also been out there before doing the same thing when the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour, and that's where I got good at it, was shooting prairie dogs in the wind, but then I didn't do it for a long time, and yeah, it's sort of this weird ability to know how far a certain wind is going to push it to that side, given its speed and direction.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm stating the obvious of what it is, but like, actually, like I remember being able to just think like, oh, this is going to go about that far.
Yeah.
Like just looking at the reticle, it's going to go like half a notch over. Like, I don't know mills and all that shit. Like, I don't dial. I don't know. I don't understand any of that.
You Kentucky windage it. And
yeah.
I mean, we're all Kentucky windaging when, I mean, you throw a baseball or you throw a football or anything like that. You're like, I think I'm going to put X amount of power at this angle and it'll go there.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are better at it than others. Some people get paid to do it.
Yeah. And
one of the rifle ones that I know, well, other than like the basics, like reload and like, but like getting the gun into your the right part of your shoulder every time, it's the same as getting a solid grip on the pistol. And so like, I remember doing the rifle match, and there were times where I'm like, that is not on my shoulder. Okay, well that's fine. Luckily, 223 is just, not that big of a deal but like, and the other part is getting the proper index for your sight, whatever sight you're using. Cause like I run a red dot to give myself as little, as much margin of error as possible. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're running LPVO or magnifiers or stuff like that, like
too much shit in the way.
And you've got to get the exact right spot to get within the eye box, or else you are looking at a black screen.
Yeah. And
so that's a skill. And like going back to pistols real quick, how often, like how quickly do you think it deteriorates, and how much work do you think would be a reasonable amount to keep your skill level?
This is a thing I believe about most things that anybody does. You never, okay, I rarely ride a bicycle. I can still ride a bicycle at a relatively high level compared to someone who cannot ride a bicycle. Right. Make sense? Like,
right. I know what you're saying there.
So what I'm setting up here by saying that is, okay, I get to, like, I'm just going to put random numbers on it that go from like 1 to 10. Okay. So let's say I'm at, like, let's say last year when I had a pretty good year. Well, I had a really good last match. I don't know about the year, but I was really trained up at the end of the year. And
right. You're like an 8 or 9.
Well, I was just going to use a smaller number. I'm talking about like in the grand scheme of pistol shooting. I was going to call that like a 5. Of like like Eric Graffel is 10. Okay. Someone who's never shot a pistol before is 1. I'm probably I'm probably more like a 7 on that scale.
Yeah, I was going to say 7 or 8.
I'm more humble than you.
Stop being humble. That's for basic people.
Okay. I'm more like a 6.5, 7 on that scale then. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's say I was a 7. I think right now I'm at a 6. Like, right. I still have most of those skills. I still know how to enter a target. I still know how to plan a stage. Like, some of those things don't really go away. But being able to aim once, and not only like the vision part where your eyes are where they need to be and you're actually patient enough to let the dot get there. Like, I have shot a lot of Mikes and Deltas and Charlies that should not have been shot this year.
Yep.
A lot. So
I feel you on that, because that was going to be my next question. Is like there's the, like, how much do you need to practice to maintain proficiency? And I would my theory was 20 minutes a week Like one
Are you
session
saying
a
live
week.
fire?
No, dry fire.
Oh,
Like 1 or 2 a week will keep you at that 7.
I disagree. I think because that's what I have been doing, and it has fallen off.
Okay.
I think to maintain your highest level, I think it needs to be more like 3 to 5
Okay.
a week,
No,
but only like 20 minutes. You don't have to spend 5 hours a week.
Right. But the other question is, with our skill level, have we raised the floor so high that we'll never go back to a 4?
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't think going like if I'm a 7 now, going back to a 4, I think is only going to happen when I'm too old to do it. Like when I physically can't do it anymore.
And that was kind of what I was thinking as well, because I took a 3 or 4 year break from kickboxing and went back to sparring. And the first day I was competitive with the people that I was going with, and I was like, oh, you don't forget the thing you've practiced for 10 years. That makes complete sense. So yeah, I think for a newbie starting out to build skill, you need to be at that 4 to 5 a week dry fire, like focus on skills or whatever. But like as Craig Tappy shows us every time, once you're at a high enough level, you can kind of just coast your way through and be perfectly fine.
There's nothing to worry about whatsoever from that point on. You just, you go play a little golf, maybe you dry fire and have one live fire practice the week before that match, and then you go win an open.
Right. And the high overall.
Yeah. There's been a bunch of stuff on our Reddit, and thank you guys. We're at 102 now. It's kind of cool. r/NASS on Reddit. There was stuff from the last post. We were like, "Hey, quick, we're recording. Ask us something or give us something to talk." Excuse me, burping. Give us something to talk about. There were a couple that came in after we did that. We didn't. Did we talk about? No, we did talk about that. This one we did not talk about. Preferred footwear for matches. Jeff, go.
Baseball cleats with metal spikes. Mm-hmm. That they are vastly superior. They don't wear. I've had a pair for like 2 or 3 years, and they're starting to fall apart. Now, word of advice: the metal gets sharp. And I have cut socks and my own leg several times.
Probably because you're on gravel with them a lot, as opposed to like grass and dirt that they're designed to be on.
That probably doesn't help.
Yeah.
And walking on concrete definitely doesn't help. And you do have to acknowledge if there's going to be like a lot of running on like a wood platform for some reason. I definitely bring a normal pair of like tennis shoes.
Yeah, you don't have to ask the range master before you change shoes. You can just do it.
Correct. But even with like Solomon's or I have like rubberized like cleats, I would still switch out to, because I'm just worried about slipping on wood surfaces. But that's my go-to after I rolled my ankle at the Great Plains section and cussed up an absolute storm.
I am a big fan of just a grippy running shoe. I have used like trail runners in the past. This year I've been just shooting in regular old Merrell Moabs, mother of all boots. It's just they're like hiking tennis shoe sort of thing. Very grippy bottom. I don't have a favorite.
I don't know why Solomon's are always
I don't either.
They're too narrow and they break at the edge of the foot.
They seem the most fragile. All of the trail runners I've had a discount for Merrells for a long time, so that's why I have lots of them, and I do like them. They last a long time. Their trail running shoes, some of them are kind of like meh for our sport because they're not grippy enough, but some of them are fantastic. So, like, the sharper cleated ones are the ones I like to go for. I'm not real picky. Like, honestly, a great type of shoe to go for just like general practical shooting would be a football referee shoe. And you're like, that's a thing? Yes, I used to be a high school football referee, and they make shoes specifically designed for that. They're not full on like molded football cleats. They're like sort of it's sort of the difference between like whatever the most fucking cheese grater lock grips are. It would be more like the slightly below mid grippy grips, if that makes sense.
Okay.
They're grippy, and you're not going to slip and fall running on grass, but they're not going to give you like you're not going to like sprain your knee because the cleats are too sharp, you know. I like those a lot because they work on grass, they work on gravel, they're, you know. But anything that's sort of like that, I think shoes are really overrated, guys. I really do. I think people spend way too much time thinking about their footwear. I don't think it matters. The only thing I don't recommend is smooth bottom cowboy boots. A guy in my club shoots in those, and he slides all over the place, and it's hilarious. That's about the only thing.
I also don't recommend skater shoes.
Heelys are bad.
Oh my God, Heelys would be hilarious at an indoor match. But there's a couple skater boys that shoot with us, and they I don't know how they move around very effectively, but I think it's just because they've been in them their whole lives, but like there's no grip on them.
Yeah, anything that allows you to not slip on gravel, which sometimes there's no helping that. Like it's too grippy. I will give as a former baseball player who wore a lot of metal spike cleats, the ones with the newer, more modern ones are much more comfortable, I would imagine. There's a lot more padding in them. When I played baseball, like there were Nike Air baseball shoes that had no cushion. I mean, it was like, you know, they're little like, oh, here's the air pad thing that if you pulled the sole out, you'd find this little thing in the bottom. It was pointless. They were mostly like a hard plank of plastic with metal spikes molded in. The ones you wear look comfortable. Yeah. Just to be in all day because those, and there's more spikes. Every type of metal spike back in the day when I was buying them, there was just 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and that was it. Now it's more like the softball style cleat, but they're all metal, so they look more comfortable now. But yeah, okay. Other Reddit stuff. I gotta back out of that, and then I gotta click the thing, and then here's the. Which shooting sport has the worst costume? USPSA's NASCAR shirts and booty shorts versus IDPA's fishing vests and 511 pants. SASS John weighing too much versus Loop Sling Larry's NRA high power shooting jacket. God, that's funny. The worst costume. I think hands down. This is not even close. It's not even close. The NRA high power shooting jacket is the worst garment to wear shooting. It's so dumb.
What do you have against bondage? I mean, it does look very silly, and maybe that's why that sport is dying. But like the SAS boys who weigh 700 pounds shoot.
I think everybody thinks of that one dude who's shooting really fast, but he was super fat.
Yeah, because as someone who's kind of knows a little bit about like the YouTube Shorts world, that one has like 100 million views.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone does know him, and when he's yelling about a snake in his boot, like I don't know, but all of them are strong contenders. I felt personally attacked by the NASCAR shirts and booty shorts, but
yours isn't like the shirts you wear aren't really NASCAR shirts. You don't have logos all over them. I mean, that's the reference of a NASCAR shirt is that there's one big logo and then a bunch of little ones on it. And those are relatively obnoxious. I'm not obnoxious. I just have 2 I guess 3 if Michelle's logo counts.
Right.
But she made them. It's the label.
Exactly. The worst shooting sport costume to me is a fight between IDPA's fishing vest and the like tactical brutality match, like full kitted out, but no shooting skill type dudes.
Yeah.
That show up with way too much gear for what they're actually
Guys
doing.
that train at a higher level.
Exactly.
When they're training at a higher level, it's a higher level.
Yes. I'm just like, bring the required equipment for what you're doing, and then do that, and also don't shoot 3-gun because that's a contender. You want to wear a corset covered in shotgun shells,
Yeah, I suppose.
right? Because our one of my buddies, he's like, oh, real men shoot shotguns, so he let me shoot his shotgun, and I didn't feel very manly after it. But like, he was pulling his shells off of his corset, like to load it, and I was like, bro, I don't care how manly you think this gun makes you, wearing a corset does not help.
It's a chest rig. Thank you very much. And I own one that holds 20 shells
Yes.
because I'm too fat to quad load off my belt, unless I have really long spacers on my caddies, which I figured out is the trick. Just if you're fat, just get longer spacers than the ones that come with it. Yeah, there's all sorts of silly stuff. I also think the trap shooter's vest is sort of mostly just the fact that there's this pad in the shoulder that they've always traditionally had and they still exist. Like, I mean, it's an incredibly useful garment, you know.
Right.
It's got 2 big pouches to put, you know, the loaded shells in one pocket and the empties in the other, so you're not making a mess because you're only shooting the one, or if you're shooting doubles, you're shooting 2, you know, and then you just put them in the other pouch. But the vests are sort of, and I guess I'm also thinking of like the vests all the guys were wearing when my dad was shooting a lot of trap, you know, and thinking of them now, they seem a little silly, but they mostly kind of look the same now as they did back then. They kind of look like an IDPA vest.
I was about to say, at least they have function over the fishing vest.
They do, where it's just trying to be something that it's not. You know,
right.
It is far more functional. You know, there's always a slot for 2 shells. Like, I guess there's the what do they call it? The match saver shells in the
right
in the non-shooting shoulder.
Or is this one went too bad? Bang.
Yeah. But I do think Jesus, you can spend $550 on a trap shooting vest. Holy shit.
It better come with a nice bottle of whiskey in a pocket.
I was thinking a blowjob, but sure. Damn. I just think the shooting pad, I don't know how much. I mean, if you're shooting, you know, 100 at a trap shoot, I could see that little thin piece of leather or fabric padding helping, but I don't really understand. Maybe it helps it stay still. I don't know why it needs to stay more still than just like into my shoulder. I don't know. I got sort of buying this shotgun for my son. I got kind of like trap shooting curious, you know, just because I was breaking birds a lot, you know, and going back to the perishable skill, being able to track a flying object and blast it out of the sky, that's a really perishable skill.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
If you grow up in the pheasant hunting capital of the world, South Dakota, you get pretty good with a shotgun, and to a certain extent, I haven't lost it. But it's like, how much do I have to lead a bird, especially when I'm actually hunting? You know,
yeah.
Because with trap shooting, it's always about the same distance away. You know, no more than 11 yards farther than you are. When it's a pheasant, the first time I was hunting, the first pheasant I shot in probably 20 years, I shot at, I should say, I let it way too much.
Yep.
And I'm shooting Prairie Storm, for crying out loud. Like, that shit's hot. It's like 1,500 feet a second. It's coming out there like crazy. And I'm like, okay, I'm leading it, boom. And I could see the wad pass in front of the bird. I'm like, oh, I think I led too much. I haven't done this in a long time. Whoa, yeah. Like, it's kind of like the windage call. It's a very perishable skill. If you're shooting Prairie Storm, you basically just barely lead at the front part of whatever's flying and shoot it. You'll get it.
Well, they talk about that in World War II, that like the best gunners for B-17s were like people who hunted pheasants and ducks because they understood lead and all that stuff. And I mean, now we know what to stock up on for the future war.
Yes. Oh,
I
was going to bring it up too.
Of Prairie Storm to shoot drones out of the sky.
I would go with there was a video I saw
heavy
here.
Enough?
Well, yeah, I mean the lead is heavy. The only problem is it's soft. Maybe we go with some like tungsten or whatever.
Well, right. That's my question. Do you go with goose loads, like a 10 gauge goose? Or is that, am I thinking the right ones?
I mean, the goose loads are steel shot, so they're not as heavy per BB. I mean, they'll do the damage when they get there, but they're not as heavy per BB. That's why, like, turkey ammo is the way to go. Like,
Okay.
that's, you got some big BBs, but not, it's not buckshot. And I mean, some of the turkey loads are like, for a box of 10, it's like $60.
Oh, Jesus.
Some of the stuff Federal makes is just crazy. I don't know what's in it. Like, heavy, more expensive metals, like I think tungsten or I don't know what they are, but they're expensive as hell. Yeah. Shotguns for drones. They're coming back. That video that's been going around is awesome, though. The guy in the shipping container.
Yep.
If you haven't seen that video, it's so good. So freaking good. There was another video somebody posted in the Reddit that I absolutely loved it. And it sparked an argument between Owen and somebody else. Not an argument, more of a debate. Hot take. Every match should have a 3 per stage. And then there was a video of him shooting this 3 per stage. And it was, I think, 3 per with a balance beam. Granted, it wasn't a stupid balance beam, but it was kind of a balance beam. Yeah, that's a little too much. Just as a stage design thing, just a regular shooting area. This is 3 per. Like, let's give people room to maneuver. But it didn't look like the targets were stupid for it. It wasn't terrible.
I think for a 3 per stage, I think if the match director understands what they're trying to do, it's a good thing. Or the stage designer is trying to do. My dumbass told one of the guys out in Alliance, he was like, I want to add more shots to this stage. There's 28 stages. And I was like, haha, you can make it 3 per. He goes, done. And it turned into like a 39 round stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And so like the video that we're referencing, I think they did a very good job. There's not a lot of targets near each other.
No.
Because you're firing 3 at one and going to the next. Whereas like if you did one of those like 4 stack, with like a no shoot in the middle ones, then because there is a match that does that, like the Rocky Mountain 300 or something like that.
Yeah.
They do 5 stages and it's 300 rounds for the match. So like every stage is 60 to 70 rounds, and what they do is they just stack a ton of targets together, and it's like, this isn't really that interesting. It's just doing a lot of bill drills.
No, and I've been watching the loop of the video play. The more I watch it, the double balance beam was not as dumb as I thought the first time around, because it was like 2 2x4s wide. It wasn't just one, and it sort of made you hit the spots a little bit. And yeah, that was I take that back. I don't think that was that bad. I wouldn't have done it if it was 3 per, but it sparked an interesting little debate though between Owen and somebody else about how it just makes more points. It doesn't really add to the stage. It just makes it point heavy.
Yep.
Well, but that could be a good thing to help separate what's going on. If it's super hosey, I mean, that's okay. We had a 3 per stage at Great Plains that was super hosey. The main reason for the 3 per on that stage, though, the thing that made it cool was the fact that it had 2 disappearing targets. Now, you combine disappearing targets with a 3 per stage, now we're singing out of the same hymnal. I think that's cool. That's a really good use of 3 per, because there's more points. Those points mean more. A lot of times, if there's a disappearing target in a match, it is not worth shooting.
Right.
Almost always. But if it's 3 per, you're leaving 15 points on the table, and if it's a close enough disappearing target, if it's a tough swinger, it won't be worth shooting at it.
Right.
But if it's like a drop turner and it's a single exposure and it's like bop, 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 I wish they would have been faster for Great Plains. They would have been better. But that was like that concept, I think, is really cool.
I think it has a time and a place, and like he said, having one at a match isn't unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable, but I think it's more often than it needs to be.
Yeah, I can see it being like one every other match or one every 3 matches or something. You have a change in round count. I personally am not the hugest fan of 1 per stages.
Yeah, someone said that too. 1 per is let's see, what did they say? Oh, 1 per is greater than 3 per.
Well, the guy that Owen was talking to was like, a 1 per would be more interesting since you could send an extra on targets you're unsure of, and it just send one on close targets could lead to
You
some,
send a makeup
lightning
on a
fast.
1 per stage, though, you're losing.
Yes, you've already lost. 'Cause
Yeah, if you're making it up on that, on a 3 per stage, it's worth sending a makeup. On a 2 per stage, it's worth sending a makeup if you know it's bad. If you know it's a mic, it's still worth doing, but
It does. Okay. So one place that 1 per stages can be interesting is having large distance change-ups
Yes.
between the targets, because what you'll get is people make sure there's a close target like in between two far ones, or someone that they have to like do something, go to a close one and then go to a far one. You're going to have so many misses on that close one.
Yeah.
Because people are going to just do a drive-by. Because I know I did this at the Iowa IDPA cleanup match. They had a 1 per stage, and I just went boom, miss, boom, 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 because I was just trying to. That's at 7 yards. I don't need to stop, and it incentivizes drag off, which is it can be interesting. So like all stage things, if done correctly, it can be interesting. But I like the famous 1 per memory stage at Area 3. No one found enjoyment in that.
No.
It was never fun.
it just required you to spend a half hour planning it.
Yep. So I think both can be done effectively. I don't think one's more superior than the other. But
They have their place. I like
have
1
their
per
place.
because it's kind of like steel. But
yeah,
it's sort of messing with your head though that it's not steel because it's paper. I'm looking at this like it's paper, so like I just have to sight close to it. You know, steel gets in people's heads like I have to really aim. You know,
well,
so,
and if you miss,
and that too. So 1 per on paper, especially IPSC targets, that I think can also, regardless of distance, not encourage, but it can cause someone who's not executing the stage properly to have some sloppy shots here and there.
Yep.
Ask me how I know. Because I set up a stage like that at a club match once, and I think I shot all Charlies and an Alpha. So, yeah. Well, like I said, don't have a lot of time for recording this week. Sorry about that, but patreon.com/notanothershootingshow. You will get another show later this week on Friday. If you are a subscriber, just $3.57 a month, and you will get another episode. He's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show.